Hello and welcome to the... It happened, everybody. This is the Futro Hit Movie Gems podcast, and for the first time, I come to you live with COVID. The Wuhan Chew, I have it. I've tested positive, so I'm going to do my best to get through this, but I know our supporters and our fans need this podcast. They need us, just like we need them. So I'm going to muscle through it. This is the Futro Hit Movie Gems podcast.
I thought you were doing a court jester bit right there, where he goes... Long live the king and down with the...
Yeah, it's true. I have COVID. I know. It's a shock to everybody here. Moment of silence, please. Anyway, life goes on.
I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving. I'm never going to Benihana again. I don't care whose freaking birthday it is.
That was my quote. You can't just take all the quotes, Jew boy.
That was my one quote from this movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
And I'm not leaving. Just take the two best quotes of the movie.
Oh, that was Jordan's. Yeah, that was Jordan's. Sorry.
Well, because Ty was like, a moment of silence. So I'm like, that's when he's like, I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving.
Just
or
quiet.
this could be your quote.
Telephone freaking terrorist!
Does your wife think you're a loser? Good. Pick up the phone and start dialing. So, guys, this is your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. If I sound sick, I am. If that wasn't clear, wasn't kidding, but I'm going to do my best.
Oh my gosh, I think you should tell a couple more times.
Well, see, that's the point. See, this movie is all about excess, right?
That's the point, Jan.
That's the point, Jan. Get it? It's fun. So we've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
On New Issue Day, this is what happens when you're cleaning your fishbowl on New Issue Day.
And we've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. Your hair looks good.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. I've heard that before. And everyone wants to come and work for him. Isn't that funny?
You want to get some tea? Yeah, I want to get some tea. You gosh dang right I want some tea.
Go smoke some crack with me.
This is the greatest company in the world.
Hey, are you going to eat that Danish? I got a thyroid thing, blood pressure.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of Kurt from Good Burger. You can forget about your family, forget about your friends. Kurt is both your mother and your father. That's how I think of with Jordan Belfort. Jordan is both your mother and your father. You must look awfully weird.
This movie is all about excess. The Wolf of Wall Street came out in 2013. It was directed by Martin Scorsese. I don't know if our listeners know who that is. He's kind of a big director.
It's an up-and-coming director.
Leonardo DiCaprio. It stars Jonah Hill, Margot Robbie, Matthew McConaughey, Kyle Chandler, Rob Reiner, John Bernthal, John Favreau. I forgot he was in this. Jean Jardin, Joanna Lumley, and Christine Milioti.
Talk about the millions of cameos from so many good actors.
Holy
shit.
Like Shea Wiggum. He was my favorate
Matthew McConaughey
cruise driver. Yeah, it's going to be safe. A little choppy, a few broken dishes. We're going to die, Robert! And does anyone else think that PJ Byrne
We can handle Chop.
just play Michael Scott? Like, I thought of him as Steve Carell, like the Wigman or whatever, Rugrat, the guy with the wig.
Oh,
He could be played by Steve Carell. I feel like that could be his character, but
he was so funny.
But anyway, guys, this movie, what was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
It was Moby Dick, Ty. Who?
What? Captain Ahab.
Captain Ahab.
What are you talking about?
What?
The guy
from the book.
From the book. Just
turn on your freaking brain.
Turn on your freaking brain. Guys, what was it like watching it the first time, Cameron, and rewatching it for the pod?
Watching it for the first time, I think I watched it back in high school with Jordan and watched it on VidAngel, and it was just absolutely bonkers. Yeah, it was funny because we watched it with, we took out all the but then also all the language, and there were so many times where it would just go like 10 or 15 seconds, just like silence. Yeah, and I'd just be looking at Jordan, I'm like, dang, he's really not mixing his words or mincing his words. But yeah, it was. I just remember being blown away that like such a long runtime could just keep me captivated the entire time. And then I was always nervous to kind of rewatch it for the pod because I feel like it's one of those movies that just that first experience is like holy cow, and I was worried about rewatching it. But on the rewatch, I was actually really surprised how much I enjoyed it as well, and forgot about a lot of things. I was like, holy crap, dude, there's so much that happens in this movie.
Yeah. Jordan, how about you, man? Watching it for the first time, rewatching it for the podcast.
First time I rented this from Redbox, and I felt so gross afterwards. I'm like, I need a shower.
What is a Redbox, Jordan? Tell the listeners that weren't born, in the dawn of dinosaurs. People want their movie shot in 1942, you dinosaur!
Yeah, so I rented it and it just felt so gross. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so much, like Ty said, excess. It's just too much. It's like an overkill. And I love what Jared said. He's like, I listened to his podcast and he's like, get off your high horse. And I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I guess I'm a high horse on this one. But
get off your high.
Well, I actually thought of a joke after he said that. I'm like, I wanted to show a shot of like a tight shot of me going, and all of a sudden it does a wide shot and I'm like, get me off this horse.
Get me off this horse. Yeah, that'll be interesting thinking about that.
So, but now watching it on the second time, I had gone through watching a lot of Martin Scorsese's films and then rewatching it. It was such a different experience, especially watching like Wisecracks videos explaining and Jared breaking down why it's such a good film. Then after that, I was like, oh, this is why it's such an amazing film. There's much more to it than simply learning about Jordan Belfort, because he himself is just a character I find very deplorable and gross. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like a perfect person
Someone
either.
to aspire to be.
But
exactly on the same page there.
But like, because this is like the rated R version we
I've
mentioned.
been poor, and I choose rich every freaking time.
I know, we've mentioned before on Catch Me If You Can, this is the rated R version of that movie. And which is interesting that he's playing both characters. And I think it works to his benefit, though, that he looks so young. Because Leonardo DiCaprio just has this young-looking face, so he can play all different ages.
I don't know. He's starting to look old. Like, I didn't see him as very young in the beginning with his dark hair. I don't know why. It didn't fool me as much, I think. I don't know why. Is that weird that I say that now? You're right. I thought he always has looked young, but lately I'm like...
Now he looks like a man-child.
Now it just looks perpetually... He looks good. He's like a good-looking 40-year-old.
Yeah, Ty, you should be happy. Your husband looks so good at this age.
Oh, that was great. Was it, though? So the first time I watched it, I didn't finish it. I watched probably, the 8 hours of the movie, and I just turned it off. It's too long. And then, I can't remember where I stopped the movie for the first time. I think it was by the time they got on the airplane.
Yes,
and I was
Ty,
like,
when that music starts playing, it seriously feels like they're in hell. Like, I'm like, this is disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because I just remember thinking after that moment, I was like, well, I already get what this movie's all about. That's literally what occurred to me, where I was like, I mean, I get it. And I actually really like Leo's performance. I cannot believe,
so
again, this
good.
Goes without saying, I cannot believe that he won for Remnant.
Yeah, or
I think that is the biggest crime that Hollywood has ever committed.
But wait, he was nominated though, hopefully, for this, right?
Well, I think he
Well,
lost.
that and letting Will Smith get off scot-free slapping Chris Rock.
I'm pretty
it's a
sure
close
this is the
second.
year that he...
One's assault and one is not giving Leo the award for Wolf of Wall Street.
I think he lost to Matthew McConaughey when Matthew McConaughey was in Interstellar, I'm pretty sure.
It wasn't Interstellar. I think it was Dallas Buyers Club. Was that the same time? Back in 2013? Don't quote me on that.
I'm not sure.
I think he had AIDS. Is that the Dallas Buyers Club?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Matthew McConaughey was also in this film, which is really funny.
Yeah.
He's at the beginning. Hey, are you stressed out? Should be doing cocaine. Okay. Wow. Mm-hmm. 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 It's actually something Matthew McConaughey does, and Martin Scorsese saw him doing that before a take, and they just made that their thing. Oh, I just love that.
Well, but it worked out perfectly because when they all started doing it, like them slowly, like his transformation as this kind of, he looks like kind of a Boy Scout, and he slowly transforms into this like horrible, disgusting, deplorable human being. Like they become more animalistic. Like there's moments where they're like fighting over women, and the guy's like smashing a bat in the hallway.
Guy eats a fish. What's more animalistic than that?
Well, and throwing little people around on dartboards.
Like a bear catching a majestic salmon out of Lake Capistrano. What's that, Jordan?
the Lake Capistrano. What is that from? Oh, I can't
Where
remember.
milk flows like wine.
I can't remember.
Or the salmon from Lake Capistrano. It's from Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, dang it. That's
Talking
right.
about Aspen. Talking about a magical place called Aspen. I don't know, Lloyd. The French are... Doesn't even know where Aspen is. California. Neither of them know where Aspen is. One thinks it's in France. The other one thinks that's on the West Coast. So funny. Oh my gosh. Anyway, guys, this movie, me watching it now, I like Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. I don't like... How do I put this?
What do you not like, Ty? The fact that he punches his wife and
no, that's
drives
great.
recklessly
That
with
was
his wife?
great.
I know.
I
That was
didn't
such a
like
good
where he
scene.
endangered the kid. I thought that was just too much. I was fine with just him hitting his wife. I was totally fine with that. I was like, perfect.
Did you know that's what,
Watch
that's actually
Raging
what
Bull.
happened.
You'll know what I'm talking about if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. Do you want to see the most horrifying man to be with? Watch Raging Bull with freaking
Robert De Niro.
Yeah, that's another Scorsese film. But I think Martin Scorsese, he either hits his wife and makes these movies to be like, look, I'm just under a lot of stress, okay? Or he doesn't, and he's like, I knew someone that used to hit his wife, and look how bad this person is. I even have to put this in to just remind you that he's deplorable. Like the kid it was so over the top. But again, everything about this movie is excess. But that, I almost feel like when your movie is about success, excess, I think you could have moments of subtlety. Does that make sense? Like
No, because
have a
Ty,
moment-
what's better is he's portraying it from Jordan's point of view. He's doing it directly from the book. And
Yeah.
the interesting part is I like how quickly he breezes over the horrible things that are going on because of because from his point of view, all he focuses on are all these like, oh yeah, we had such a great time and then he's like, oh yeah, this guy I knew, he married that girl. And he committed suicide 3
himself
years
moments later.
And then
Anyway.
all of a sudden he breezes over it. Anyways, and then it's like,
Anyway.
are you serious?
We're
Like,
making more money than we know what to do with, yeah.
it's just crazy.
Right. Yeah. So I do like Leo's performance. I think that's my favorite part of this movie. I also like Jonah Hill's performance.
Yes, Jonah.
I almost think
so
that
funny.
I would probably just take an hour and a half movie out of this 3-hour monstrosity and just cut it down to an hour and a half of all the scenes of Leo and Jonah Hill together.
Well,
Honestly,
it's
like,
basically
I don't-
the edited version, Ty. If you had seen
Yeah.
it.
In fact, I think the country Dubai. Quote me on this. Don't quote me on this, or quote me on this. In like the country Dubai or something like that, they have or Dhabi. I don't know, Abu Dhabi. The cinema, it removes 45 minutes of content, which sounds probably about the equivalent of what VidAngel would take out. Aside from situations, the film's 600 plus curse words. What is it, 3.45 Fs a minute or something like that? F words a minute? Yeah, it's a little excessive down to its language.
Well, it's amazing because that's in a 3-hour movie, and then you got a 2-hour movie, Uncut Gems, and it has like even more F words than that.
Yes, somehow they managed to condense it in that. Yeah, it's like, it's amazing. when someone's like Tourette's or speech impediment is literally the F word, it's just constantly hearing it.
Did I tell you
It
I
does
worked
have
with
a
a guy
numbing
who
effect.
he would use his nouns and his adjectives as the F word, and so I never knew what he was talking about. He's like, oh yeah, you remember that effing F? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're
F.
talking about.
Funny, that kid didn't talk the same way when his parents were there at parent-teacher conferences. He's very well behaved. Oh, your son's such a special little man. He sure is. Thanks, Mom. I love you so much. Mom turns back. The effing whore. I don't know what that kid's problem is, dude. So I really liked this movie on rewatch for the performances, which is funny because it's like, I didn't appreciate all the debauchery. No, like I said, I actually kind of like a movie about that lifestyle.
Yes, Ty, I go back and rewatch the scene where he's like, he went all Jakuzu on him, and he just punches the guy in the face, and then they hang him over the side of the building. Amazing.
Yeah, that had a very gangster feel to it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I even think rewatching it now, I'm like, yeah, this movie's too long. Like, I really love the performances, and they had all the other stuff. There was some fun stuff, like the freeze frames, throwing the whole conversation about tossing, I thought was freaking hilarious. I thought that was so funny. It's like, don't look him directly in the eye. I thought that was so funny. It's like, you'll upset him. You have to look at, like I'm looking at your chin, not directly looking at your eyes. It's like an eye contact thing. Oh, I thought that was so funny. And they're like, okay, but
I know. I love the
you
line
can't-
right after that when he's like, oh, quick, my dad's coming in. He's like, talk like we know what this
business. $25,000 for a lunch expense. Oh, there was a lot of sides. There was a lot of sides, or whatever he says. Yeah.
They cure cancer? Yes, the sides did cure cancer.
Yeah. In fact, that's why they were so expensive. They cured cancer. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's get into two of our favorite things. I'll say one because it has nothing to do with the movie, really. This movie, it sparks so many memories of all the sales jobs I had across the years. I sold pest control. I served a 2-year mission for the church, which isn't necessarily sales, but it does have a lot of like knocking on doors, sharing with people. It's like very much the opposite of sales, but and now selling life insurance.
My mission experience was very similar to the Wolf of Wall Street.
yeah. My mission experience was very much like Jordan Belfort's debauchery. Jeez, my goodness.
Had a couple APs like Jordan Belfort.
Exactly. Yeah, I was taping money to my tits. It's a real thing that I did. Listen, I don't work for you, okay? Listen, you got my money taped. Technically, you do work for me. Take out that line. I just thought that was funny. You got my money strapped. That's just a funny line.
Is he hitting on me? Is she hitting on me?
Is she hitting on me? That was so weird. Yeah, that was the thing. I finally finished the movie this time, and I thought there were things about it I didn't like definitely, but those were nitpicks. But like I said, my memories of like all these weird sales training events that I would go to like motivate us. One of them, this guy got his laptop and he had like the other office's staff on like a video call, and he took out a folding chair and destroyed his laptop. And we were going fetching bananas because he just took out a folding chair and destroyed his own laptop. Like another moment, we're just getting caught up in this crazy animalistic, like this one guy was like, oh, I dropped my phone, I'm gonna see if it works. And we all just started chanting, smash it, smash it, smash it. And we were all screaming it, and he took his phone and he threw it on the ground, and we like lost our fetching mind. I know this is so stupid, but these like things really happen when you're in like a crazy, deranged crowd.
It's called having too much testosterone in one room.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, mind you, there was still a girl there, and she had like twice as much testosterone as half the guys there.
Well, like this one girl in this movie, how she's always yelling. You want to chat?
She was that. Yeah, she's like, that was her. And she's like, no nonsense, But anyway, just crazy things like that I'm like, yeah. And in sales,
I love you, Jordan.
Sales incentives that we had, like
I freaking
like
love
working late hours just for a stupid sweater or a hoodie, and we were like, I'm gonna win that fetching hoodie, and then we would like do shady things to like falsely sell someone a contract and be like, I'm gonna cancel it, but this is just for a competition. I need your credit card information. And then you win the hoodie, and you're like, yeah, fuck you, man. I got the hoodie, you didn't. It's not even in my size. I can't wear it, but I got the hoodie.
Ty's just like Jordan Belfort, self-incrimination.
I am. I literally am. That's why I love this movie. And I love, one of my favorite things to do is actually go back and watch like the 3 different speeches that Jordan Belfort gives throughout the movie. One of them is about motivating his folks to pick up the phone and start dialing, make themselves some money. Even the monologue about how he sells these penny stocks, and then another one at the end when he's like, I'm leaving, and then, or they want me to leave, and then I'm not leaving. And then one other time at the vacation house where he's just screaming. I don't know why. He's just like, we're gonna party! Just choking on the freaking mic. I just think that's so funny. So anyway, all the monologues are really, really funny. And Quaaludes, the drugs, everything just seemed really cool, stylistically shot. So those are my 2 favorite things. Sparks memories of my own past and all the dumb things we did as salesmen. And then just really respect and honor the craft of selling. I think it's a great life. And if you can earn a keep and not lose your mind and not spiral out of control, as some have in the past, it's a great life choice. So, Cameron, how about you? 2 of your favorite things from this movie?
I mean, besides from Margot Robbie, but my favorite.
Is this her film debut?
No.
Yeah, this is her first film.
No, it's
No,
not.
this is her breakout film.
This is not her first.
Oh,
film.
okay, first breakout film. I think it's kind of weird, right? Like, is it just me, or like she was a no-name before this movie, and then they do this film where you might say it's degrading, and now she's like a big star. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get how that works. Because she's no name, you can like
You work with the big director.
degrade
Same thing
her.
with Bradley Cooper, and then a movie that everybody sees, like The Hangover, and then suddenly he's
Right,
now
but
famous.
like Bradley Cooper didn't have to objectify himself.
Cooper?
To that point. Yeah, so Bradley
Cooper.
It's Cooper.
I said Cooper.
You said
No,
Cooper.
you said Cooper.
Bradley Scooper Pooper did not have to like objectify himself to get ahead. Is my point. Like
All
I guess you
actors
could argue
do.
he did
That's
in the
literally-
movie Hangover. What's that?
All actors do. That's literally their job, is to look good on film.
Yeah, but not so much like with Mark. Anyway, that's we can get into my nitpick later. But anyway, Cameron mentioned that he liked her. I don't even find her attractive. In fact, I think the real tragedy was losing his other wife. His real wife, but without that hair. That hair was terrible. But I think she was in How I Met Your Mother, right? I never watched the show, but that's where I know her from. My roommate was obsessed with that actress, and I think she's more attractive than Margot Robbie is personally.
My soul's dying a little.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Are you guys... quick question. Rachel McAdams or Margot Robbie, Cameron?
Margot Robbie doesn't count because she's not human. So Rachel McAdams, because she's actually human. Margot Robbie is just an android, bro. She's way too perfect.
I don't know if she is, dude. I bet she has just like this movie. She just yells at you. Why are you such a loser all the time? Sounds like her character Harley Quinn. That's not acting. That's how annoying she probably is. Hey boys, yeah you are. They're like,
anyway,
so cringeworthy.
Anyway, so
she's a lot of fun to have at parties.
My first favorite thing is definitely I love this movie. Reminds me a lot of Inglourious. I love how the final scene is kind of just shows the audience, and it's just like all these people that are like enjoying and watching Jordan Belfort just do his thing, and we're like, oh, he's such a terrible person, but then all those people are there to like when he's like, sell me this pen. That scene I feel like is very similar to the scene in Inglourious where it shows
they're all in the theater watching a hyper-violent movie.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just like, oh, what sick people. And you're like, oh, it's exactly what I'm doing. Just like that movie. You're like,
right. At the end,
you're like, oh, what terrible people.
Hands up, all the people watching Jordan Belfort's seminar.
Yeah, and it's like,
they're paying to witness how to get rich like that quick and easy, right? Yeah. It's like, you are literally propelling this guy and you keep giving him your money. Stop it. But let me, Martin Scorsese, benefit off of it a little bit by movie sales. But I still gonna make fun of you. You wouldn't go see this movie. You're a bad person.
But that's how he makes his money, and then he goes off and makes his little side projects that he loves.
Yeah. So do you not think that he enjoyed making this film?
Oh, of course he's gonna enjoy it. Like, see, if you're gonna make a big Hollywood movie, like, why not enjoy it? Like, I imagine he does.
Dude, they were probably all in Quaaludes, dude. And then the slow response, and then it fetch and hit me. Oh, and he falls down and went straight to freaking cerebral palsy phase. Yeah. Get the phone. Get the phone. That was great, dude. That was... Anyway, Cameron, I don't want to take off your other two favorite things. Got to talk about that scene.
And then my second favorite thing is definitely what I loved about this movie is I think they did a really good job of showing the consequences for your actions. 'Cause I feel like on a lot of movies where like there's kind of a villain or someone who's like sleazy, they don't show the repercussions.
Wait. Okay, keep going.
Can I finish?
You think they did a good job in this film?
Yeah. Can I finish? Holy shiz. So
what's the repercussions?
Him punching his wife? Oh my gosh, are you fetching kidding me? It shows how his life is like completely ruined. I understand financially, he might still...
But how was his life ruined by punching his wife?
Because he lost his family. Okay, yeah, he might still have financial and all that shiz, but at the end of the day, that dude's not happy like with himself.
Yeah, but he wasn't happy married to his first wife, Cameron. That's his second wife, who he left. He cheated on with this woman doing cocaine with this woman on a ride home in the limousine with this woman. Like this was never a happy marriage, Cameron. So anyway, I get what you're saying, but let me just back that up.
No, how about I finish my freaking point, please? Holy cow.
Sure.
So I love in this movie how they do a really good job, in my opinion, because Ty clearly disagrees. I think they did a really good job of showing kind of just the consequences of his actions. Yes, you may still think that he got off scot-free, but I think it's really important because it shows a lot of times they just
He did. You may think he actually did.
So he had zero consequences? No, you're... Let me finish. So I think something that's really interesting is I love how they kind of show like the entire movie's kind of showing that, oh, he keeps getting away with it like at every single turn, and just like his life is fine, and then he had the opportunity to get out scot-free essentially, and then he didn't take it. And just that peak of the scene that Ty said that it was disturbing to watch of him abusing his it's called domestic abuse against his wife, and then crashing the car with his child in the car. I think that just did a really good job of showing like, yeah, you can't maintain this life of like absolute craziness, because like at some point it's all going to come crashing down. And it showed that how his life fell apart, and he ruined his relationship with his family and his children.
I love that thought. I think he gets off completely scot-free. I just disagree.
Kate,
you mentioned life crashing
by
down
the
around
law.
him. There was an airline pilot that was sent to rescue him that literally went down in flames to rescue him. Jordan suffered absolutely no consequences for his actions. Other people did all the time. His old wife, the people that he steals money from, the people that they embezzle, the people, all the FBI agents whose lives suck, they get an offer of the chance of a lifetime to make as much money beyond their wildest dreams. Are you bribing a federal officer? No, that's not what I said. I need you to say that again exactly like you just did. I see what you're doing here. I think it's time that you get off my fetching boat. Why don't you go back to your ugly fetching wives? Yeah, so Cameron, one reason I would just disagree with you is there was a scene where they're like $10,000 or $10 million bail, and he just kind of looks around like, "What? That's it? Like I got $10 million." I just thought that was a great moment because again, this is a guy that's like done so many unspeakable crimes just by taking all this money and living so depravedly, and it's like there's a very minimal slap on the wrist. In fact, it looks like he's at a country club at the end. He's playing tennis.
You didn't even listen to what I said. I did not say, oh, he totally got punished for his correct crimes. I absolutely know he finessed the F out of the system. I said he had consequences for his actions by his entire life being ruined of everything that actually matters. Of course, yeah, by the law and in like.
Yeah, Ty, did you see him at the end of the speech when he's
me.
like, the guy that introduces Jordan Belford, that's the actual Jordan
Yeah,
Belford?
That's Jordan Belford, yeah.
He looks so freaking messed up. Like those drugs messed him up.
Yeah, and that's why you're like he doesn't have any
break his
consequences.
pride.
Just because he gets away with the crime doesn't mean there's consequences, dude. Like his entire life is ruined, and like
I agree too. I just thought it was interesting that again, for a movie that I feel like he gets, you're right in the fact that he loses his family. I feel like that they had to
which
do
is
that
the only thing that really matters. He loses like the only people in the world that like actually care
But
about
how
him.
many families does he lose though? He loses all of them, I guess, in the end. But it doesn't seem to matter to him because he's always going to find a younger, sexier girl. Like he always will. Like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
In fact, like real life Leonardo DiCaprio, he can't seem to date anyone that's over 21 years old. He's like, "Ew, you're over 21."
Yeah, I
You're
was
gone. Can't
going to ask, is this a documentary about
be
Leo?
my wife anymore. Tway with you, tway. That's real life Leonardo DiCaprio. Martin Scorsese was like, "Hey, I need you, Leo, to act in this because this is your real life."
Yeah.
Like as far as a movie star actor, again, he plays his cards close to the chest, tries not to get involved in too many things. He believes in global warming to maybe almost an obscene degree. But yeah, he kind of stays out of the limelight. But every once in a while, you just ask someone how they feel about it. Like, hey, he's married this really young woman. He keeps having these young women. You're like, hey, whoa. But he's a good guy because he cares about the planet. We give him a free pass because he's a great actor. Have you seen that movie he was in where he lived inside a dead horse carcass and ate raw fish? Give him the Academy Award for that. Why? That's not acting. That's called being fetching miserable. I bet Leonardo DiCaprio was laughing at his performance in Revenant. Like Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort would be like, what a fetching loser. He's like, I was living off of like real drugs to film this movie, and I had to go with Alejandro Iñárritu and climb inside a smelly real horse carcass. Like, dude, talk about like different worlds, dude. I bet he had a blast filming this with Martin Scorsese and all of his friends. I bet they had a freaking blast, dude. Anyway. And another thing, at the end, Cameron, there's the scene where the detective is like, he mentions the scenario where he's riding on the subway bus.
And you see him on the bus,
or
yeah.
something like that. He says like, like, are you sitting on it? I can't remember what the frig was. It was the weirdest thing. But he basically mentioned that his sweaty seat on his ride home to his family. They didn't show the detective get home with his wife and like celebrate. He like looks around on the subway with a bunch of nobodies all looking at him like he's like all depressed and miserable. And I'm like, they clearly put that scene in there like, hey, look, like good, nice guys finish last. This guy worked so hard
It's
to put
showing
Jordan away.
that what's it called? That it doesn't always pay to to do what's right, but still, it shows that like he's not truly happy, and his life is not like he may have like.
Do you not think? I mean, I would argue, yes, like, you're like, what brings true happiness? Like, is Jordan happy? I think Jordan Belfort is plenty happy, dude.
See, but he has to do all.
No,
are
but
you
he's
kidding me?
not.
He has to do
He
all
says
these
he's-
drugs to literally
Yeah,
make him
exactly.
happy
That
and
he just
keep him
numbs
stimulated
his
at
pain.
all.
So he's just coasting through life
Sure,
on drugs.
but he has the resources and capital to do exactly that. He will OD, or eventually his heart will give out because of the insane amount of Quaaludes that he's consumed.
I just
over
think
his
it's
life.
funny, Ty, that you're considering a life of doing cocaine and all that shiz, and just like it is like happy. Like, okay, yeah, he might think he is, but like
I
he's
never
not.
said it was happy. You said he got off scot-free, or it showed the consequences of actions. I'm saying there were no consequences. He lost his family. He didn't care about this family. He didn't care about his last family. His previous wife, move over. I got a sexy Margot Robbie here. Let's spend like 30 minutes showing about this love relationship. Didn't really care about any of it. But I got the scene where she's yelling at him. She keeps him on his toes. He yells at her back and forth. Again, I enjoyed the scenes with Jonah Hill and Leonardo DiCaprio more than I enjoyed any scene with Margot Robbie and Leonardo DiCaprio. Although I did like her splashing his face with drink. I thought that was funny. Gosh dang it! It's like a child on his bed. That was the best part.
He was a
Of all the
little kid.
freaks. It's just a child. Like, anyway. Yeah. But anyway, I'm just, like I said, there's all these things that almost, I just feel like disagree with your premise that, I think this is like a bad example. You're like, it'd be like going to mom and dad and be like, oh, this is a good movie where you learn about how bad it is. Like, if you watch Breaking Bad, for example, that is like, holy crap. I had a friend that was like, oh, I don't do it because it glorifies drugs. I'm like, have you watched Breaking Bad? Like, everyone's life is ruined. I mean, like, fetching ruined. Down to like the relationships with each other, economic.
Holy dude, please just shove it down my throat until I agree with you.
So he
Hey,
chokes
that's
on
fine.
it, Ty.
Yeah, you see, everything's about excess, Cameron. Come on, you just go with it, man. You just gotta, you know. Hey, I'm sorry, Cameron. I love talking about this movie, and so anyway, I didn't mean to think like you're wrong. I actually like
that's
that
exactly
you mentioned
what
the
you
family
said.
because you're right, Cameron. I think you're right in the fact that he's not happy. I think that you did a good job at establishing that.
No, I think you
just thought
guys
it
are
was funny.
both right. I do
Yeah.
agree with Cameron that there is
Yeah.
consequences to actions, but I also believe that this is the perspective from Jordan Belfort, and he is going to breeze over those consequences as quickly as possible and focus on how great this has made his life, like how awesome his life is and how wonderful
Cameron,
he is.
you think this discussion is going like when he's on Quaaludes and gets home with not a single ding or scratch on this car, and then like it's revealed that his fencing car is destroyed and he hit every single golf cart and pillar
No,
on and
isn't that
mailbox
an
and
exact
sign.
representation of the consequences?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then his view of it, that there's no damage
That car,
to it.
by the way, is probably like my dream car, I think. That retro Lamborghini. That
Yeah,
white-
I love that. That's so
That
cool
looks
looking.
so freaking cool. And what a great use of the car, watching him roll down the golf course steps and use his foot to open the vertically open door. I thought that was awesome. Like, it lifted him off the ground. I was like, dang, that looked really cool. Like, the stunt performed by Leo.
Well,
I thought that was
I love
cool
when he's
looking.
falling down the stairs. Like, I like how they look like
Yeah,
they're
it looked like
really long.
20 steps and it's only like 4. But he's like, I can roll. He like tucks his head and like starts rolling down the steps. And then every time he's on his back, he's like trying to get up. Oh my gosh, it's so painful to watch him. Get off the phone! Freaking Jonah Hill, dude.
Jonah Hill. Wait, so what would happen if your kid was, I'd just take him out to a field and open the door and say, go, you're free now.
I wouldn't do that. I'd fetch and pay for him to get help. So I hear a lot of things. You're married to your cousin, right? Yeah, I'm married to my cousin. You know, all my friends when I was growing up wanted to hit on my cousin. I'm like, I'm not going to let all these guys hit on my cousin, so I did the honorable thing and I married her. What the fuck is he talking about, dude?
You
And
give me
you
a
never
you give
see
me a
her
paycheck
until the end, I guess.
and
You just
I'll
see
quit
her
my
at the
job
end.
right now.
If you show me a pay stub that you made over 70 grand last month, I will quit my job right now. And the thing is, the guy did it. He called his boss and quit right there.
Listen, I'm not crazy about when people narrate if they're showing what exactly they're narrating, but Martin Scorsese, I always like him narrating because it's kind of fun to hear inside the head of people
Or like,
Well,
yeah.
also,
he
I think
gets
it's important. It's the
turned
same
over
thing.
to
What's it
narrate.
called?
if it adds to the character.
Well, I think it's also the same thing as the stock movie with Christian Bale, with Margot Robbie as well. And oh my gosh, what is that movie with Christian Bale?
Christian Bale and
Stocks.
Margot Robbie?
Yes.
Oh,
Ryan Gosling.
are you talking about the housing market?
Yes. What's it called?
Oh gosh, The Big Short.
Yeah, The Big Short. See, I think in a movie like this, it's important to have a voiceover because then that way you can keep your audience understanding what the F is happening. Because otherwise, like, you're just kind of like,
Which is
oh,
funny.
we
This
don't really
movie does not
understand.
explain. Yeah,
Well,
it doesn't explain much about what they do.
Oh, well,
he's like,
he
you know
starts to
what?
talk
I'm
and
probably
he's like,
boring. Yeah.
yeah,
You
it
know
doesn't
what?
matter.
I'm boring you. You don't want to hear all this. I love that. It's like, it's really funny. Anyway, I think you're right. I think ultimately this is a travesty. The movie is a tragedy. Watching Jordan spiral into depression. Of course, I'm not referring to you, Jordan. No.
See, well, that's why I think this is a great representation of consequences. Is because this movie makes me never want to do drugs just because I look at the effect it had on his life.
I would just argue this falls in the trap of the Count of Monte Cristo camp, where it's like this 3-hour revenge movie.
Last
and the
2
last
seconds.
5 minutes, I never needed revenge. It's like, well, you already got it. You can't say that now. Like, oh, I've learned I never needed the revenge in the first place. Like, well, you fetching got it served cold, man. Like, freaking hors d'oeuvres, a la mode. You've got everything that you came for, and now you're like, but I'm an enlightened figure. I never needed the revenge in the first place. I'm like, shut your mouth. Shut your freaking pie hole. Anyway, see, now you know the way I feel about Count of Monte Cristo. It's a great movie about revenge, but it's like, here's my example. When you watch all versions of the Christmas Carol, you watch Scrooge at the end change for like 2 minutes. The whole movie is about how stingy of a miser he is. And at the very end, he's like, I'll give my employee a raise. And he like doubles his wages. And you're like, well, that might be really nice. But you're like, but he was paying him dirt, nothing. So I'm like, he doubled his wages. That still doesn't even live him out of
Here's
poverty.
from 1 penny to 2
Yeah, he's
shillings.
like, I'll raise it from 1 penny to 2 pennies. Hey, I'm the most generous person out there. And like, they do that. And then you watch the freaking Scrooge musical. He gets the whole fetching town to sing with him, dude. They're all fetching, throwing their hats in the air like, oh my gosh, I can live free of debt. Oh my gosh, my debts are forgiven. And they're all dancing and singing in the street. And you see the difference that one man could make. And they spend like 15 minutes doing it.
And
Like,
then
there's a whole scene.
then Scrooge 2
musical
is
numbers.
the economic collapse.
Scrooge too. Everyone supplied to it. All the debts have been forgiven. There's all this like, yeah, it's not pretty after he dies the next year. Thank you very much. Great musical. Look up Scrooge by Albert Finney, 1970.
Some of them would
Scrooge.
rather die than go there. If they'd rather die, then they'd better do it.
If they'd rather die, then they better do it and decrease the surplus population. Good day. Yes, that is a good
back.
movie. You should review that during Christmas. Best rendition of the Christmas Carol. Anyway, I agree, Cameron. Like every other version, I'm always waiting for that exciting moment where he makes the change, and it's always the last 90 seconds of the film. But I guess that's the problem. It's like if you do it too early on, it turns into Lord of the Rings Part 3, you know? Return of the King, where it's like 5 movie endings, and you're like, get on with it. Just shoot me in the arrow with the head, Legolas, or something. Like, I just want to get on with
You sounded like Scrooge again. Lead on, spirit.
Lead on. How did we just talk so much about Scrooge in this movie? In The Wolf of Wall Street. Anyway, guys, any quotes you guys want to throw out? There's so many quotes from this movie. I can't even. The Quaaludes, get the Quaaludes. I'm not dying, fetching sober. That was actually my first quote I was going to yell. He's like yelling. He's like holding his wife. He's like, we're going to crash. Like, you got to turn this thing around. He's like, it's a 120-foot yacht. But if we turn around, we'll get capsized. Rogue wave. He's like, everyone get down. And then like that moment where like he's like watches a jet get like flies out of the sky, gets burned up because a pigeon got caught or a seagull got caught in the jet engine. And then he had like this moment where he's like, oh my gosh, they died trying to rescue me. It's my fault that they died. It's like a weird moment where I'm like, I mean, I don't mean to say like, oh, what you find is impactful. It was just out of nowhere. Like, and I get it, like this movie's so crazy, but like the whole shipwreck, they get saved by these Italians, and then this jet crashes in the sky, and he's like, oh, he's like impacted by it. But they never talk about it again. It's never mentioned. And I guess I'm wondering if that really did happen. And again, to Jordan Belfort, he just breezes over it.
Well, it
keeps
did. It
moving
actually
on.
did happen. It didn't explode right in front of him, but the plane it did explode.
It crashed on the way over to get him. Yeah. And that is tragic because you're like, these people died trying to save this, you know. I won't cast judgment and say he's a lesser life form, but let's just say this very unusually crooked character. We'll call him that. Yeah, unusually crooked. Other quotes you guys have from the movie?
I mean, it's a 3-hour movie. There's a lot of quotes.
And half of which, because I'm a good Christian man, I can't repeat for you on the podcast.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. I do like though, like he's like, this watch, it's like 40 grand and he throws it and then it's like flying through the air at the slow-mo shots. I love that. And they catch it and he's like, get off of flabby. They're like trying to like tear him apart for the $40,000 watch. I thought that was really funny. Yeah, the dartboard scene with all the ridiculous chanting, like, this is what I do to the IRS forms or whatever. He's like urinating on them. He's like, yeah, this is what I think of them.
Subpoena.
So, oh yeah, the subpoena. Yeah, the court subpoena. The feds are subpoenaing them, and he's like, this is what I think of subpoena. USA, FUSA, FUSA, which is funny because like they were strangely patriotic before, but then when the government comes for them at the end, they're like FUSA. I don't know. I thought that was funny. Like they love the part where you can get rich and live your wildest dreams, but then when, you know, bills are due or, you know, it's time to collect and pay taxpayer man or to do things above the law, it's FUSA, F the rules. I just think that's really funny. Very flip-floppy.
Just trying to make sure you don't screw me over, Swiss. It's like, I understand completely, American shiz.
Yeah, that Swiss guy, I'd like to. He keeps yelling French, or I don't know, is it Swiss? What do they speak there? But he was speaking in French. But he was speaking in French too,
I know,
which
it
is
sounds
why.
funny.
Yeah, what are
From
they speaking?
Switzerland? What is he speaking?
What, does he speak French? Yeah, but he's like yelling at him. He's like, you gotta get over here. And he's like, this crooked man, he could find someone that would forge her signature in like less than a day or whatever. I thought that was great. And my favorite scene, when they take some Quaaludes that are really old, they just keep popping them. And it's just building the scene of tension, which is my favorite scene of the whole movie. It just like keeps building the scene. They keep popping Quaaludes. They're running, they're exercising downstairs. He's like, what are you guys doing? He's like, oh, just getting some exercise, getting some cardio in. And they're like running. And all of a sudden, like nothing's happening. He's like, oh, these Quaaludes are for shiz. They don't work. And then he goes to the country club. He calls from the payphone for his lawyer. And his lawyer's like, whatever you do, don't call like anyone. The house has been bugged. The FBI has tapped your phone. They're listening to all your calls. The IRS, everybody's involved. And he's like, ugh. And then all of a sudden he's holding the payphone. And he's just like, ugh. And he just like falls over completely. Like,
What are you saying, Jordan?
Mind.
What are you saying?
His
I can't understand anything you're saying.
I can't understand what he's saying. Just like
his
he's
personal
yelling
his personal investigator is Jordan Belfort's real life personal investigator. Like that, he was actually the guy he has dinner with. That's actually Jordan Belfort's actual personal investigator.
Oh, you just gotta sit in your chair. Just gotta relax and calm down. You called the captain the earlier. I called the captain. Yeah, he was really upset. He's like, we're lucky we were in first class. I think you have a freaking drug problem. It's just so silly. Like
I don't want to die.
But see, again, getting away with it. Like they never would have gotten away with it if they weren't first class, paying top dollar for all this. I guess they wouldn't got away with all those assaults either. But like, I guess if you have money, dude, it's crazy.
Didn't you watch the Oscars? If you're rich, you can get away with anything.
See, I was actually gonna there's a real life example for you. Slap the shiz out of Chris Rock, and hey, no, everyone's gonna just look the other way.
They'll give you an award for it.
As crazy as Jim Carrey is, he came out and he's like, hey, guess we're just not part of the cool kids club anymore. That's my best impression of Jim Carrey. But yeah, he said that, and he was like, I was just
Ricky Gervais though was really funny though.
I love Ricky Gervais. Bring him back to host the Oscars because he's the only one that literally is saying what everybody feels about the Oscars. But honestly, I would tune in next year if they promised to slap another celebrity. I would pay to see that. I literally would.
Well, did you hear
every year we're gonna slap one celebrity across the face, maybe multiple times. That'd be great. But let me give you some legal advice. Just shut the heck up. All right. All right, folks. Any nitpicks? It's crazy. Just keeps going. It's excessive. And there were a few liberties I think they took with the real life Jordan Belfort story, some of which that didn't happen, even if Jordan was lying about him or Martin Scorsese embellished him for the sake of telling a good story, like he said. Did he witness a helicopter crashing? No, but it's fun when he sees it. I get it. But again, it's like so quick. It's like, wow. But yeah, the movie just keeps going on and on. I was like, oh, I feel like you could have ended the movie several different times, but I did like it when he's like, I'm not leaving. I almost wish they ended it there. But then you wouldn't have had the whole 40 minutes after that, and you wouldn't have had that great scene where they almost crash the ship, and then he freaks out because his aunt dies, and I love that it matters so much to him because she's got $20 million in her bank account, and he's like, oh no, Aunt Betty died, and he's like actually upset about it, but not because he gives a crap about her, it's because 20 million of his money is tied up in her account in her name. I thought that was so great. That's funny.
The other quote I thought of was he's like, it's a non-alcoholic beer. He's like, yeah, but if you drink enough of it,
you drink enough of it, it really F's you up, right?
Yeah,
no.
You get drunk? No.
It doesn't. It's like, why don't we go in there and smoke some freaking, what is he called? Smoke some
Snort some lines
laundry
of baking
detergent or something. Baking powder. Which is probably like the prop they use on all the sets here. Unless they're really doing coke, which wouldn't surprise me. You see how these actors
we use
act,
flour and I had Sebastian sniff it, snort it up, and I tried it. I just breathed it in, and it hurts. Like, it's not fun.
Yikes. It's not good, dude.
Remember
And
for our movie
also
Sugar and Drugs?
Yeah, it's terrifying. I also like, just the FBI scene. I thought that was great too, where they come to the boat and he's telling how great his life is.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorite parts is the downfall of
the
everybody and him ratting out everybody and then just getting arrested while they're in the offices and freaking out and one guy's crying. It's just so funny.
Yes.
Priceless.
It's great.
And then Donnie's in the back all nervous and he's like deleting all the stuff. So great. I don't remember that. I don't recall that. I don't
recall that. No, never said that. Hey, are you going to eat that Danish? I'm going to eat that Danish. I got a thyroid thing and some blood pressure. Anyway, one other Donnie moment where I can't remember, I think it's on the ship, right? Or it's when they're drinking Quaaludes or eating Quaaludes and they're going off their rocker. He's just like, I don't want to die, Jordan. I've done a lot of bad shit. I'm going to hell. I don't know why that was so funny. Like, would you guys recommend this movie? Yes, I actually still recommend this movie.
VidAngel.
Watch it on whatever. Yeah. VidAngel. The movie's a nice, appealing 2 hours and 15 minutes. So
it doesn't take out that much, so chill.
No, the one, it was the cut.
The movie was still 2 hours and 45 minutes for me.
Oh, no, I'm not bashing on it. I'm saying you really should. I think the movie's too long and it has too much in it. I really do. I would just go on YouTube and just watch Jordan Belfort's scenes with Ronnie. I think those two are so funny. Or Donnie. Anyway, Jordan, would you recommend this movie?
Well, I said on VidAngel.
Oh, watch it on VidAngel. Right on. I say watch it just as it is. There's nothing wrong with it, dude. Anyway, what have you seen lately and what are you looking forward to seeing, Kieran?
I watched the first episode of Moon Knight, which was pretty good.
Yeah, you like it? I love Oscar Isaac, and it did look like it's breaking from some of the mold of the Marvel. What do you think?
Kind of more of a horror, psychological thriller themed. Not the first episode didn't really make any sense, but I guess it's doing its job. But and then I finished all of What If, which was meh. I mean, there's some cool episodes, but I mean, it's just a guilty pleasure for me, so that's probably the biggest reason why I enjoyed it. And then watched The Running Man with Jordan, really good.
I'm gonna throw my freaking fist down your throat and pull out your gosh dang spine. Freaking love that, dude.
And then
Cameron was laughing so hard at the part when he's like, I'll break your neck like a chicken's.
I'll break your neck like a chicken's. Yeah, that movie's insane.
Straight
up insane.
I watched Starship Troopers with Jordan, which is really funny too.
Ooh, sorry. I just had to throw this out there. With Squid Game being so big right now, they should remake Running Man. I think it'd be a really big movie. You could even do a TV series, seriously.
I thought you said Edgar Wright was going to remake it, and you were like blowing up about that. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Oh, Edgar Wright was making it? Or sorry?
You said that. You announced that on the pod.
Maybe I did look it up. Speaking of Edgar Wright, I just rewatched last night in Soho. That movie's amazing. Did we do that on the pod already?
Yes.
It's fucking good.
We reviewed it.
Still can't believe you cut my joke, though. I'm very upset about that.
All right, Cameron.
What else have you been watching, Cameron? Jordan's afraid I'm going to tell it again and have to cut it out of this podcast. Don't worry, folks. Just keep cutting it. I only shared it once. I only dropped you twice. Maybe 3 times. Ball! What are you saying, Cameron? What else are you seeing?
Must have lost Cameron.
And then, no, I'm still here. You just keep talking when it's my turn. And then watch Scary Movie, Jordan, which was really funny. My favorite scene is I'm the king of the world.
Is this the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the first one at all.
I love the first one.
Yeah,
it's been too long.
That haven't seen it, it's this guy it's this black guy recreating the Titanic scene, and then right after he says I'm the king of the world, he gets whipped, and he's on a slave ship. It's so funny.
See, why can this racist joke persist, but mine can't? Just saying.
The reason is because it was directed by 2 black brothers, so.
Oh, right. I forgot. Dude, oh my gosh. Speaking of that, making jokes about your own race. Dude, watch Atlanta, everybody. I've been watching it. Cameron, have you watched this show?
Yes, I've seen a couple episodes.
Oh, Cameron, watch
the new season is so
series.
good.
The new series is so freaking good, dude. Twin Peaks about the story of a rapper, dude. That's how it's been compared to. And it's that, but it's so much better, dude. Cameron, you need to watch it. Seriously.
I'll think
Drop
about
what
it.
you're doing.
And then
watch Atlanta.
I watched Green Book, which had been
good.
which had been on my bucket list forever, and it.
What? Why? Cameron, you're racist. This movie isn't going to change your terrible racist ideas.
And I gave it was a masterpiece. I gave it 10 out of 10. And
Are you
It made my
serious?
top 50. It made my top 30. So
Oh my god!
I think it's so beautiful.
I'm sure it's great. I love.
Ty,
Viggo
you love
Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen. I don't understand you.
And Vigo,
I do.
I didn't even know it was Vigo until after I looked at
I just know
IMDb.
what the movie is without having to see it. I just don't care for these movies. I really don't. Like,
Do you know what it
it's
is,
like,
though?
let's just keep. Yes, I do know what it is. It's about a guy that lives in a time where everyone was racist, and then it's like, oh, but guess what? I'm super progressive. I drive with you. I don't care. I don't
that's
care who
not
you
what
are. I'll drive you around, Miss Daisy, or whatever it is, and
No.
then you drive you around. And he's like, hey, we're gonna
Miss
grow closer
Daisy.
because I understand your way of life, and you understand a little bit about my way of life, and then we're gonna come together and we can be friends. But guess what? In real life, they embellished all these details to make this crappy story that didn't even take place in the first place. It's kind of like when I watched
Well,
The Help.
it-
The first time I watched it, I was like, oh, this is a good movie. And then
Isn't
I was
that
like,
every movie,
I
Ty?
really
They
like this movie?
do a dramatic retelling of a story to make it more interesting?
like Wolf of Wall Street? Yes.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah. But no, and I don't even mind for the sake of like having it more dramatic. It's just like I already know what this movie is about without having to see it. Does that make sense?
No, and
maybe
you
I
don't
didn't get
know
the
what it's
details
No,
right.
how about
No,
you
you're
not
not getting the
review
details
movies
right.
you haven't seen yet?
Yeah,
okay?
because you literally
No,
have no
that's
idea
fair.
what you're talking about.
Okay, when I watch it, I'm gonna come back on this pod and I'll tell you how. No, I can't even watch this movie.
I
I will
watched it.
watch
I
it.
just watched it this week, and I can tell you exactly what you got wrong. So
Okay, tell me what the movie's about, please. I won't even interrupt. What's the movie about?
It's about like an Italian guy who played by Viggo Mortensen, who he's normally a bouncer, but then his the hotel or whatever, the diner that he's at, or the club that he works at is going under reconstruction, so he's out of a job and he's really struggling to get by. So he's looking for jobs all around town, and then this black like classical music pianist comes to him and asks him to be his driver or whatever, and then so he ends up working with him. He's like, you came like highly acclaimed by many people, and then but Viggo Mortensen at the beginning of the show, it's shown that he's kind of racist and doesn't, at least he's a little bit prejudiced, and he doesn't really like blacks because he had a couple blacks over to his house.
Okay, that's 1 point for me though. That's literally what I said, right?
No,
I said
you
that they
literally
have
said
different-
that it's a guy who who sees past it and doesn't really care.
No, he learns to grow to see past it. I said they had their differences. Like he hated blacks. I know it's a racist movie. Or whatever. It was about a time where everyone was racist. I said, and then he learns.
Not
to,
everyone. His wife
Yeah.
wife is not racist at all.
Well, I know there's these progressive people that existed during the time that didn't believe, contrary to the grain of normal society. There was the outliers. I get it. I know, but I'm just saying. So his wife told him to take the gig and get over his racism.
No. Anyway,
She's probably like, pay the bills, honey. We have no money.
Yeah, it's
She's
really
like-
good. I definitely recommend
Was it
it.
Margot Robbie? Was that Viggo's wife in this one? And she's like, you lazy son of a slop. Why don't you get that
No, it's actually
money?
it's actually Leo's first wife in Wolf of Wall Street. So anyway, yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's really good.
No, I will see it. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, maybe I'll see it. I just don't know. I just feel like I know what the movie's about. I watched Hidden Figures. That's a good movie. Go watch that movie. It's about a bunch of black ladies that literally solve the moon landing. And it's a great movie.
Which,
about time.
but according
these women,
to some people, the moon landing never happened, so they did nothing.
Dude, I told you about that, right? On my 7th grade field trip, this guy leans over to me. He's like, "You know this didn't happen, right?" And I was like, "What? What the freak?" It was like the first time I heard about it, and I was like, "What do you mean it didn't happen? I just watched it on TV. You can't believe what the TV's telling you, man. I just saw it on the news. I just saw it on the internet." Anyway, it's a crazy time we live in. Great, dude. I watched There Will Be Blood again. We're going to review it on the pod, so I won't say much more other than, think of The Founder, think of Nightcrawler. It's the corrupt capitalist movie, but guys, every time I watch it, I have so much more to like about it. So anyway, I'm very excited to talk about that one later. And then I watched Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Great music. George Clooney is so funny. They're just so quirky, the Coen brothers, the way they write characters and dialogue. It's just beautiful music. So
I watched
and
two
finished
Coen
Chosen.
Brothers movies this last
I finished
2 weeks.
Chosen season 2,
So
and
good.
I'm still watching Atlanta, like I mentioned. So that's everything I'm watching. What'd you watch?
Raising Arizona and Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
So good. Their movies are perfect.
Good times. Anything else? Looking forward to that crazy everything all at once, everything and now. all at once movie.
Yes, I bought tickets. I can't wait.
We'll go see that. That'll be fun. Review on the pod, maybe. But maybe Jordan will be let down, and then we'll put it as part of another podcast movie title.
Yeah.
Talk an hour about something else, and then 5 minutes about something
I
else.
doubt it because the Daniels are so freaking good. Oh, yeah, cheap.
Is it the Daniels? Is it the ones that did Swiss Army Man?
Yes.
Well, that just piqued my interest a little bit.
You didn't know that?
They're making, well, I made a joke about they found a movie more original than, now I get why my joke is even smarter than I thought it was. I was like, I found a more original movie than Swiss Army Man. And I was like, they made Swiss Army Man, so now they're making an even more original movie. I'm just very excited to see it, is my point. So
I don't know how original, because it seems to be kind of what superhero movies are today. The idea of millions... Or Rick and Morty. This reminds me more of Rick and Morty.
I'm not saying that this might break it. It's just the commercial kind of... It was unlike any trailer I had seen in a long time.
Well, Ty, does it not make you think of Rick and Morty where they have millions of versions of themselves? Like there's 1,000 Mortys and all the universe?
There is that element to it, but I'll be interested to see where they take that because I feel like you can do that without being nihilist and you have a different concept on your mind or on your hands, like kind of like Interstellar. Like that kind of is...
That is Cube.
Dimensions. The cube, hypercube or whatever. My doctor said I was too old to hyperlink, so I changed doctors. Guys, check out Everything is Terrible on YouTube. One of the best channels out there. Just a bunch of old 80s films that they found, VHS tapes from like corner stores, and it's just the most appalling kid shows from the 80s that you're like, how did this get made? It's a trip, dude. It's a trip and a half. So check out Everything is Terrible.
I've watched pretty much all of Red Letter Media's videos. They're so funny.
I love those guys. Oh, speaking of Red Letter, hey, Red Letter Media, this is the future of Hidden Movie Gems coming out. We would love to have you on the podcast, and we would love to go on your podcast. Bring our 8 viewers to you.
I can guarantee you they're not going to listen to this episode, and I will reach out to them if we want to have them on. Like, that's the best way to do it.
Oh, perfect. Well, there you go. Because in the end, I don't even do that. Like, I do this for the real enjoyment. But in the end, love the Red Letter Media guys. Those guys are so funny.
Yes.
Jay and Mike, they're hilarious.
Hilarious. And they remind me a lot of
funny.
me and you. Like the skinny dude reminds me of me and the other guy reminds me of you.
Yeah, you like all the depraved movies that Jay likes, and I like, a little bit. I don't know. Mike surprises me. Like, he likes weird movies that remind me of picks that Nick would like. He kind of likes just entertaining films.
No.
Somewhat. Well, he does, or at least he can, enjoy
Or maybe you relate
films
more
for
to
what they are.
Plinkett. Or Plinkett?
Plinkett. Yeah, his character where he
crap
nitpicks.
myself.
Oh my
That's
gosh!
Ty.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I can do his voice. Oh, my pizza rolls are done. Yeah.
My adult diaper's filled up.
my-
It's now dripping down my legs.
I gotta get my legs amputated because of my diabetes.
I like their little skits they did before about the whole VHS stuff. That's hilarious.
Yeah, their video repair. Like I said, I just those guys inspire me. They're awesome. So we should invite them. I'm just saying, those are people, and YMS. These are guys that we love, and it's not for viewership. I'm so passionate about this. That's why we're doing this, dude. We're not doing this for the money. Although I would choose to be rich every single freaking time. Everybody, this has been Future Hidden Movie Gems. Leave us a review, 5 stars. Leave a comment. Did we just get a comment? We got a comment. You shared it. It was a nice one. Someone said something about they liked the stories, right? What was the episode? It was about the one you just posted, right? Was it Follow? No, it wasn't It Follows. What was it?
Got it right here.
Oh,
Super Dark Times.
Super Dark
It's
Times.
by
Yeah, it was thanks.
Demon
Yeah.
Sides. He says, really great video, guys. I love the stories you all told.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Do we tell about times we murdered someone in high school? I'm trying to remember what stories we told.
I love all the real stories you guys tell.
I know. I like the stories you told about this movie way crazier than anything that happened in our lives. But anyway, guys, this has been Future Head Movie Gems. We're going to end the podcast now. Leave us a review. Check us out on Instagram. And check us out. Jordan devised this amazing plan where he's going to put the highlight on our podcast show on Apple Podcasts. And we'll just put the highlight that was put on the Instagram if you don't have Instagram. Because these 1-minute clips, highlights of our episodes are just so fantastic to listen to. It's all my best material, folks. And please hire me as a stand-up comedian. I will do private events
All
and
Ty's
parties.
best material that he stole from Red Letter Media.
That's crazy. See, that's crazy. You'll have to point out to me the ones that did that, because I obviously take inspiration from them. I don't think I steal their jokes, but I probably have. I mean, I nothing's original anymore, but I intentionally try to give credit. If you guys don't know the quote, I'll try to anyway.
I'm just giving you a hard time, Data. You don't.
I hope so, because anyway, I love them, and I would be thrilled and honored if they knew that I stole their jokes because I just look up to them.
We just love them. It's all good.
Yes, and we don't have the viewership that they do, so we're justified, okay? It's not a crime. Anyway, guys, tune in. Take it easy. This has been Futro Hidden Movie Gems signing out. Peace.
Bye.
I'm not leaving.
I probably just built up a tolerance after all these years. The Quaaludes aren't sinking in.